Hello everyone. This is the final week of this course and I'm hoping that you guys are having a good time and I really enjoy teaching this class. And the final class will introduce a new theory, the so-called middle power diplomacy, which explains the diplomacy of middle powers. And middle power diplomacy focuses on new leadership in soft issues. What are the goals of this section? It helps the students understand new trend of Seoul's middle power diplomacy, particularly on human security areas. Seoul can bridge between strong powers and lesser powers. First, theories of middle power. Let me define the middle power first. What the middle power is. What is it? In international relations, a state that holds a position in the international power spectrum in the middle. Below the power of superpower, obviously superpower yields vastly superior influence over all of the countries, or of a great power. But middle powers have sufficient ability to shape international events. So physically, middle powers are between the superpowers or great powers and lesser powers. Obviously, the Seoul government is locating between the two powers, superpower or great powers or lesser powers. Traditional middle powers are like this. India, obviously you understand why India is included in one of the middle powers. Brazil, Indonesia, Nigeria, Mexico, Sweden, Australia, and Canada. These countries have enjoyed the status of middle powers for a long, long time. But in the 1990s, there emerged some countries in the world as superpowers, namely South Korea, Argentina, Malaysia, Poland, and Turkey were added to the middle powers. Yet, the list of middle power is somewhat different by the institutions or scholars. Certainly, middle powers are regional powers in the region which they are located at. This map shows the location of middle powers. Canada, right? Mexico, and Argentina, and some European countries, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. It does not have India, but India must be a prominent middle power. In Australia, South Africa, Indonesia, Malaysia, and South Korea. Obviously, Japan, China, Brazil, and the US. US is a superpower, but these countries are great powers, great powers. Now, let's turn to middle power diplomacy. And then, what kind of diplomacy middle powers pursue? Middle powers in international relations are identified by their international behavior. For example, the tendency to pursue multilateral solutions to international problems. Middle power diplomacy does not pursue to solving the problem unilaterally, alone. Middle powers try to solve any international problem with some other countries. And also the tendency to embrace compromise positions in international disputes. Middle powers do not force other countries to solve that problem. Always seek for the compromise in many international disputes. And also middle powers have tendency to embrace notions of good international citizenship. Middle powers are good citizens, always following the rules and abide by the rules. And also middle powers have their relative affluence. They are rich relatively. And they have some managerial skills to negotiate with other countries. And also they have certain level of international prestige in order to preserve the international order and peace. So middle power diplomacy does not try to produce any international order or peace or change rules of the game, because middle powers are good international citizens, good citizens. So they follow, abide by the international order and peace all the time. Now, there's a need to make a new theory in international relations. Why? There could be three reasons for that. First, the current international relations theories focus mainly on the issues of global strategies of major powers. Global strategies of US, Russia, and China, and sometimes the UK, Japan, or Germany, or France. But not all international problems are handled with these great powers. Second reason is the increase of issues, particularly in human security and sustainable development, such as environment, economic development, natural disaster, and refugee problems. All these kind of problems need cooperation among the countries. And it needs some leadership of middle powers. Another reason is the increase of the role of middle powers, particularly in soft issues. This is why we need a new theory. We need a new theory in order to explain a new trend in international affairs. What is soft power? In international politics, soft power is the ability to co-opt, to change, rather than coerce, to force. In other words, soft power involves shaping the preferences of the others through appeal and attraction, not by force. So defining feature of soft power includes is non-coercive, and it includes culture, and soft powers have attractive culture, and attractive liberal values, and attractive foreign policies, because they are good citizens all the time. So Joseph Nye, a prominent Harvard University professor, once said that the best propaganda is not propaganda. He also explained that during the information age, credibility is the best resource. So middle powers, soft powers are exercised by middle powers with the credibility. And what are these soft issues? In international relations, soft issues are those that are not related with significant international rules or norms. These rules and norms are largely made by the great powers or superpower. So the soft issues deal with the non-structural issues that need reconciliation among other people, other countries, and cooperation from many countries. So soft issues are those that need reconciliation and cooperation among the countries. And soft issues can be exemplified in international environmental problems, global warming. Obviously, global warming is not going to be solved by one superpower. It needs the agreements among many countries. So it needs reconciliations and cooperations among the countries. So it needs a new leadership without force, without coerced means. And sustainable development or economic crises and natural disaster and so on and so on. These soft issues should be solved by the middle powers diplomacy.